Turning now to the war in Ukraine. A major port city in the south of the country is readying its defenses as the war is approaching. Now, the name of this town is very familiar to us here in West Texas, Odessa. Brendan, it's not a coincidence that these two cities share a name.
Yeah, Tatum, a coincidence it is not. Now, my great-grandfather came to the United States from the Eastern European country of Bulgaria and worked on the railroads. Thousands like him did, including Russian-Ukrainian immigrants. And although there's no official record of how Odessa, Texas got its name, we can trace the city's name back to those Ukrainian immigrants in the 1800s who called West Texas home.
So the standard story is Odessa was founded as a railroad town, as a stopping point on one of the big Texas railroads that was being built across Texas at that time. The story is that there were a lot of Russian/Ukrainian immigrants working on the railroad at that time, and they thought that the plains of West Texas looked a lot like the plains of back home. And so the name Odessa started to be used for this area.
Working on the railroad was hard labor, but it was also steady labor. And it was something most Americans didn't want to do themselves.
Immigrants are brought in by the thousands to build these railroads because at the time, the United States, and it still for the most part is, we were land rich and labor poor.
The West Texas land made an impression on the homesick immigrants. So calling the tiny railroad camp Odessa was a way to remember home that was halfway around the globe.
And we think about this globalization as a relatively recent phenomenon, but Texas has always had a global reach. You know, Texas has always been important to the geopolitical scene. And it's really interesting to see how throughout our history we've had these. And if you go across Texas, you will find stories like this of different immigrant groups and different settlers, and how connected and how small the world really is when you're looking at stuff like connecting Odessa, Texas and Odessa, Ukraine. Like, it's phenomenal that these connections have existed for so long.
And here's one thing to note. Although the two cities share a name, they are not actually sister cities. But still, to know West Texas shares a connection with a city on the other side of the world, well, Tatum, it just reminds us of how small the world actually is.